Hello, everyone, and welcome to Magnetic Women Monday. Today, we are diving deep into a single word intuition. Such a simple word, yet one that holds the power to completely transform your life. For years, I ignored my intuition, not because I didn't have it, but because I didn't understand it. And that unawareness lead to years of struggle, confusion, and feeling disconnected from myself. But intuition isn't just a feeling. It's the quiet inner voice that guides us, protects us, and reminds us who we truly are. It's what makes us human. It's what makes us irreplaceable in the world of machines and AI. And when we learn how to tap into it, everything begins to shift. And that's exactly today's episode is all about. We are going to understand intuition in the simplest and most practical, most powerful way with someone who has dedicated her life to helping people reconnect to their inner wisdom. Our guest today is Jennifer Lyall, an intuitive business mentor who helps ambitious entrepreneurs gain clarity, focus, and deep trust in themselves so they can bring their vision to life doing what they love. She has guided over 65,000 people reconnect with their intuitive power, and today she is going to help all of us understand the same. So get ready because after today, you will never think of intuition the same way again. So let's welcome the incredible Jennifer Lyall. So, Jennifer, welcome to Magnetic Women Talk Show. I am so honored and grateful that you're here to share a story with us.
Oh, I'm so excited for our conversation. And I love, love, love the wonderful container that you create for exploration, for sharing, and the possibilities that get created in these conversations. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Honored. Thank you. So let's begin from the very beginning. Would you like to share your version 1 story compared to the version 2 you have become today?
So interesting. I'm surprised I want to go back all the way this far. So I grew up as a baby of 7. My parents were immigrants into Canada. They had their own business and worked very, very hard from 7 in the morning until 11 at night. And I was raised a lot by my siblings, and I had sworn I would never be an entrepreneur. So I was a smarty pants in school. I went through university, graduated with honors in the top 5 of my class. And my dream was, I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I want to work in corporate because that's where it's at. That's so much better than what I grew up with. Did not enjoy the corporate experience. And once I started a family, wanting to work closer to home because I was doing a commute into downtown Toronto from the suburbs. And then I wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilling. And so I made this decision to start my own business. I was in a government program, and so I got some support. I studied business, so I knew business. I have a background in marketing, and I started my business, and it was hard. Entrepreneurship is so different than working in corporate because you have all of those different supports. And so I was in a place where I was putting in a lot of hours. I was working during the day when my kids were in school or with a sitter. And then I was, going into mom mode and then working again at night and just trying to do so much. I was exhausted, depleted, unhappy, and things were not growing in my business the way I had hoped. And my husband looked at me and was like, "Are you okay?" And I wasn't. I was so unhappy, and I just didn't know what else to do. And there was a pivotal moment. It was March of 2010. I had had my business for a couple of years and it wasn't growing the way I had hoped. And at that point, my youngest son was going to be going into school full time. And I just gave myself permission to discover what made my heart sing. And it was like from that moment that it opened the world up to a spiritual wonderland where I discovered meditation,
Okay.
crystals, dowsing, and automatic writing. And that was the part of the unwinding that I went through. And then to compare that to where I am now, I have such a clear focus on what I'm here to do. I absolutely love what I do as an intuitive business mentor. Over the years, I've developed my intuitive skills, and which for me is the language of energy. And I
Right.
specialize in the language around business, specifically ideas that entrepreneurs have, their purpose and the direction to go in, and how to know what is the direction to go in, and helping with the decision making. Then also managing your energy, because I went from this place of working so hard, and I had remembered having this experience of just wanting 2 minutes to breathe, working with a coach. I just want to have 2 minutes to breathe. And she's like, well, just take those 2 minutes. But I didn't value myself enough to give myself that permission. And now that is like the foundation of all the work that I do with my clients, because I recognize how significant that is to everything.
Wow. Okay. So when did you first realize that your intuition is your guide? How it is like started guiding your life?
As I can look back now, I can see lots of little moments of where my intuition was guiding me. I understand now that that's what it was in different situations. But it was that 2010 moment where I was sitting on the couch in my living room, and it was pitch black, 6 a.m. Everyone was still asleep, so the house was quiet, where I just made that declaration of giving myself permission to discover what made my heart sing. And then it was like the universe said, okay, she's finally listening. Show her the signs, show her the signs, show her the signs. And because I had given myself that permission, I just started to notice synchronicities through the meditation, creating a little bit more space in those moments of meditation, which then also led to other moments during the day where I would hear a little whisper of, as I'm making a meal, try this spice, which I never would normally put in, and just being so present and sensing and smelling the food that I'm creating, and then the smell of the spices, like, oh, okay, let's try that, and getting curious in little ways that just didn't matter, that it was okay, safe to follow the intuition, follow these little insights, these little nudges that help to build up the trust.
Okay. So that might took some time to, actually start trusting
A
your
year.
intuition. That's not
Oh,
easy. If I see myself, like I'll be like, okay, this is my inner voice, but is it real? Like, did you had any kind of that doubt
oh
or trust
yes.
issues
Oh
with
yes.
those?
I think everybody goes through that phase of, am I going crazy with these experiences?
Right.
And I remember telling my husband about various experiences of different synchronicities or things that I was sensing within my body or visions that I was seeing, and telling my husband. And then I would tell him the story. It's like, do you think I'm crazy yet? And he's like, would you just stop saying that?
Mhm.
I was fortunate that I did have some friends that were spiritual, a friend that was a Reiki master, and well, a couple of friends that were Reiki masters. And so they helped me to understand what was going on. I had another, so that was March. October was another significant of a time in 2010 when I discovered dowsing, so how to use a pendulum. So started out with the focus on crystals and meditation. And then once I got into dowsing, using a pendulum, and it was like having a lucky 8 ball where you can shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, and then see the message. Have
Yeah.
you ever used a pendulum?
No, never.
Oh, okay, I realize that I don't have one handy, but I can show you here with a necklace. So with a pendulum,
Mm-hmm.
you can ask a question, please show me yes. And then it rotates for me in a clockwise rotation to show me a yes. Thank you. Please show me no. So it rotates in a counterclockwise rotation for a no. Thank you.
And you're not moving your hand at all?
No, I'm holding it steady because so here's me moving it. This is me moving my hand to make it move like
Um,
that. And then here it is for me to move it. Whereas I'm saying, please show me yes. And it's going on its own. Like my hand moves a little bit because I'm not resting on anything,
no,
but
definitely.
it's
Yes,
not
that's
the
what I mean.
effort. So the energy flows through me and through my hand. I'm saying, universe, I'm talking to you. We're having a conversation. We're using this tool. And so you can ask it to show you yes, no, yes, but, and no, but. And then you can also create something called a ray chart, which is, yes, I can show you on here. It just opens up the door to so much more possibilities for getting answers to questions. So I ask on a regular basis, on a scale of 1 to 10, how
Mm-hmm.
beneficial is it for me to do X and Y? This is essentially what a ray chart looks like. And
Okay.
so I can hold the pendulum over the middle point right here, and I can ask. So there's an event that is an amazing event I've attended in the past. I love the group, and it's like 10 minutes from my house, and it's logically I want to go. But when I pull out my pendulum and I say, okay, universe, there's all that buffet of all the different options of where I can focus my attention and intention. Honest, knowing what my personal goals are and how I'm here to serve on a scale of 1 to 10, how valuable is it for me to go to the event that's at the Royal Botanical Gardens this month? And when I hold up my pendulum, it swings over to a 3. So even though logically it
Logically.
makes sense to go, it
Mm-hmm.
isn't the priority for me right now. Now, there's another event that's this month that's a mastermind in a community called Alora. I've never been there, randomly connected in with this woman last month. And so when I tuned in and I got on a scale of 1 to 10, how beneficial is it for me to go to that event? And the way it swings is over to the 10.
Wow.
And so that helped me with prioritizing where to focus my attention and intention. So if I had invested in that other event, I wouldn't have the budget to go to the one that's the mastermind. And so I can put numbers at the end of the ray chart, or I could put actual options. So for instance, let's say I was evaluating on trying to select or selecting a social media manager. And let's say I did some logical research of, who do I like? I look at their pages to see their style and some of the people they've represented. I can do all of that logical research, and then I have a grid system to help evaluate the logic. But then there's your gut instinct of what's going on here. Are they a good energetic match? Are their personalities a good match? Do they share the same value? Like there's an energetic aspect of it. So I do all my logical due diligence to
Okay.
ensure that it's a match. And then I'll do that rate chart and I'll say option A, B, or C. And then which one is the best option for me to achieve, and then have the outline of what my goals are. That they're going to do my posting. They're going to help me with expanding my audience. They're going to be really good with lead generation. Like I have all the parameters for making the decision, which is the best option. And then I see where it goes. And then let's say it chooses option C. It's like, oh, that's interesting. And then I'll even do the scale of 1 to 10. Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, how beneficial is option A? And it might be a 3. It's like, oh, that's interesting because I really like their stuff. But what I might not know logically is maybe there's a team member that is going to be leaving. They've been unhappy and they would be on my account, and they end up leaving in a month or 3 months, and then that just throws things in a tailspin. And the universe has a sense of what's going on where I wouldn't logically know those answers. And so then maybe B is a 9 out of 10, and then C is a 10 out of 10. It's like, okay, that's interesting.
Wow. So we can confidently say that you have used the same chart to come to this show as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I got a 10 out of 10. Yes. I
Yeah?
I do
Okay.
the same.
I'm so
Yes.
grateful. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious to know what tools you used to, master this intuition power.
The pendulum was huge because I was so logically focused that it was difficult to let go of control. So the pendulum helped me have a visual response of what it was that I was asking about. It took me a year to build up my accuracy because I'd be picking up my pendulum and I would say, I want an answer now. And that's not the right energy to be in. It would be all funky and give me weird answers. And there's times where the pendulum won't swing
Mm-hmm.
because it's not the right timing for me to know that. Or maybe there are other things that are still clicking together.
Right.
So the pendulum was huge. Meditation was huge for me to get out of my head.
Mm-hmm.
With the pendulum, it helped me. So I've been dowsing since 2010. So for over 15 years, I'm a member of the Canadian Society of Dowsers. I've taught at their conference. I have found that I don't need to douse because when I see the swing of the pendulum, I also might get a flash of an image. I might feel a sensation in my body. So I get other intuitive confirmations through various intuitive senses, as
Mm-hmm.
well as the swing of the pendulum. But what happens in the process is it's an anchor point. I'm disconnecting from all the chaos and I'm saying, okay, let's just kind of go calm, clear, centered, grounded. All right, let's douse on this decision to get the insights. So the pendulum helped me with getting clear, calm, grounded, and sensing as I'm having this conversation with the universe, seeing the visual representation, then gradually it's like, oh, isn't that interesting? So when that is a yes, or that's like a 10 out of 10, I get the full goosebumps throughout my whole body, or I sense the tingling at the top of my head, or I get the flash of the vision, or I get a taste in my mouth. Like I start to make the correlation between the answer through the pendulum and the other things that are going on with my intuitive senses.
Okay. So how can someone tell that it's really intuition and it's not that they are overthinking or it's their fear? Because you have actually mastered it. But for the beginner like me, if I want to start something to start trusting my intuition, how would I realize that, okay, if I'm getting some thought, it's not something which was already stored in my mind, but it is something, a divine guidance? How do I, differentiate?
That's a really great question. So your intuition is never going to should or shame you, and will never um, make you fearful. It
Okay.
never. It always pushes you towards possibility and potential, rather than away from things. Like it doesn't shame you. So you'll never get the you shouldn't do that. It would be like, why don't you look over here? And there's a different sense of energy of when you're hearing the voice, more of a lightness inside rather than the fear and the tenseness and the restriction. Um, yeah, it's always nudging you towards possibility and doesn't shame or should.
Okay, so should I start with like some breathing and like sit silently for a few minutes before I start asking any question to myself. Is that something I should follow?
Great question. Yes, the your intuition can speak to you all the time. Even when you're in a place of chaos, it's just harder to hear. If you come to a place when you're calm, grounded, and centered, then the communication channels are more open and less cluttered. So, doing meditation could be going for a quiet walk barefoot on the grass, it could be hugging a tree. If creativity is something that makes you feel better, whether it is playing an instrument or drawing a picture or painting a picture, to disconnect from whatever stories you might be spinning or the chatter that's going on in your mind, you
Right.
just want to come back to center. So,
Okay.
meditation could be one path. So, one of the things that I talk about is becoming aware of your energy, and where you're focusing your energy. And this concept of checking your inner battery, because we go through the world where we're tethered to this technology. We'll always make sure that our phone has a full charge before we go out for a day. Let's say we're visiting a city and we want to make sure that we have full juice to take lots of pictures.
Right.
Well, why don't we make sure that we have our full inner battery so that we can show up as our best self? And then also, when our battery is full, we're more likely to tap into and be in that flow state where you are really following your intuition. The inspiration drops in, and you're like, oh, wouldn't that be fun? Or you're following it, you're open to your dreams, you're following the little nudges and following the joy. Whereas when your inner battery is drained and you're in
Mhm.
the fear of like, oh my gosh, is this going to work? I'm so worried about this. Oh my gosh, is this the right thing to do? And then there's so much indecision and so much tension, and you're connected more to the stories that are stuck in your subconscious mind that are linked to your past. So coming to that place of checking in to see how you're feeling with your inner battery. And then if it's low, doing something to boost it, meditation, nature, creativity, for instance. And then listening.
Then listening. Okay, so what is your daily ritual or habit that you have built over time to have that clarity, that focused, or and then energizing yourself? What do you do on a daily basis? Like every day, it's your ritual.
So I have things that I do in the morning, and
Mhm.
then I do other little energy boosts throughout the day. So in my morning, I'll start with affirmations and prayers that I say before I even get out of bed. And
Okay.
then once I start my day, I like to see the sunrise. So I'll go for a walk with my husband and we'll see the sunrise as on our walk. So being outside, being in nature, just admiring the seasons, being present to how the neighborhood, the forest, how they change through the seasons, so really connecting in with nature. And then I'll often, when I get back, depending on the weather, go into my garden and see what's going on there, take some time barefoot on the grass. Then I'll be getting started in the day. And through that process, I just do it on automatic pilot where I'm checking my inner battery at different moments through that to get present to how am I feeling? Do I need a little extra boost?
Mm.
Sometimes if I didn't sleep well the night before, I might do a long meditation. Sometimes depends on how much time I have in the morning of if I'm going to do a meditation that will be 2 minutes for some deep breathing, or if it's going to be 20 minutes or an hour because I feel like I really need it. Like I'm just not in a good spot and I need that extra support. Then throughout the day, pausing to go outside at lunchtime, feel the sun on my skin, touch the leaves, go on the ground if the weather permits, if there's not a foot of snow on the ground, if there's a foot of snow, still just getting outside, feeling the sun on the skin, checking my inner battery again. What's going on? What do I need? Do I need to do some deep breathing? Do I need to spend some time just petting my kitty because my mind is just going? Or do I just need some more water? because that impacts our energy so much. So I'm tuning in throughout the day to see what I need and doing a little energy boost based on what is necessary for how I'm feeling in that moment, and then what I'm going to be doing the rest of the day. And at nighttime, I'll read some sort of spiritual text. I have a prayer that I read before I go to sleep. And then as I'm drifting off to sleep, I have some affirmations of um, for my health and for my overall well-being that I recite before as I'm drifting off to sleep. If I can't get to sleep, then I'll put on a meditation to help me with quieting the mind.
Wow. So based on what you mentioned just now, throughout the day to keep yourself more energized and to have that clarity of mind, you mainly focus on living in moments. So you check your each and every moment, how it's going, and connecting more with nature. So that's a very, very good guide for all our audience, that focus where is your attention, and then whenever you get a chance, please go out and in nature and try to connect yourself with the nature. So that would really bring a good clarity.
And even looking out the window, let's say you're not able to get outside. Maybe you live, I don't know, 7 stories up in an apartment and your schedule is busy. Even just taking a minute just to look out the window, watch the trees as they're moving in the wind, or seeing the birds fly. Even just a minute gazing out the window makes a significant difference. Having nature in your space, you could have plants on your desk and you can be, cleaning the leaves, touching the leaves. You can have scenes of nature or art of nature on your walls. It could be a wall calendar, it could be portraits, it could be your screensaver even. There's been research that has shown that in hospitals where there are nature scenes in
Mhm.
the hospital rooms, that people recover faster. So it
Oh,
doesn't have to be that you actually physically get out there, it's better.
mhm.
But even just having nature present in your space will make a significant
Makes
difference.
a difference.
Mhm.
Okay. So with that, I would like to know a little more about the program and services you have created and how it is transforming and helping people throughout the world.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Mm.
So interesting. I'm going to go with the words that want to come out of my mouth, not what I would typically say. How I would best express what I'm truly here to do is helping people tap into their intuition and how they can harness the joy of following their purpose. I primarily work with entrepreneurs
Okay.
and helping them with understanding what their purpose is and fulfilling their purpose through their business and becoming the best version of themselves so that they can courageously take those bold steps to believe in themselves enough that they can accomplish it and to bring their purpose to life through their business. I'm really good at helping them understand their energy as well as how their purpose feels, and then all of their ideas to know what is the energetic match to help with prioritizing where they focus their attention and intention. Now, I am on a mission to teach 1 million people how to check their inner battery as often as they check their phone battery. And so I have a book that will be released later this year to
Okay.
teach that, the 2-minute shift from overwhelm to calm confidence. So
Wow.
thank you. Uh, I've taught this process already to over 65,000 people through podcast interviews, conversations like this, different teachings that I've done, trainings and stages that I've spoken on, and within my own programs. I've taught people ranging from children all the way up to seniors, and with a primary focus on entrepreneurs. But I love teaching this process so much that it's part of my give back. So if you catch any of my videos where I talk about it, or the other interviews, or happy to share a little bit more about it here today, or if you want to catch my book, um, I really want this to reach lots, well, 1 million people.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, we would love to have any knowledge that you can share with us. So with that, I want to know Do you have any practical steps that you can share a little bit with our audience who is watching right now?
Absolutely. So, can I take you through how to check your inner battery?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
perfect. So, you're going to need a pen and a paper. And on the paper,
Okay.
you're going to write down physical and then give yourself a little bit of room, and then emotional and give yourself a little bit of room, mental, and then give yourself a little bit of room, and then spiritual and give yourself a little bit of room. And what we're going to do is we're going to rate on a scale of 1 to 10 how you feel in each of these areas, and also get present to, well, how do I feel physically? What's actually going on? What's going on in my heart and my head? And getting present to it. Because especially in North America, we ask a question of, how are you? And it's more of a greeting. People don't really want to know.
Yes.
And we don't even give ourselves that same consideration just to understand, how are we actually doing? We're stuck in the doing and the going, and we forget about the being of how that impacts how everything unfolds. So if you can close your eyes, I like to put my hand on my heart and take a deep breath and go within and ask yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do I feel physically right now? And it's the very first number that comes to you. 1 is low and 10 is high.
10.
Beautiful. And then do a scan through your body to get present to, why am I rating myself that number? So I came up with a 9, and I had a really good stretch this morning. I brought some weights into my practice. We had the walk this morning, so I feel really good. I'm feeling thirsty in this moment. But there's other times where I didn't sleep well, and it might be a 3, or I had a really tough workout, so I'm a 7 because I'm good, but I'm sore. So whatever insights you get, just make a little note. And I'm going to have a drink of water.
I just feel light. My body feels so light right now. I don't know.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. Next question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel emotionally right now?
8.
Beautiful. And any emotions come up, or any insights come up as you check in?
A little bit of doubt. I don't know. Something is there.
Interesting. Okay. And there's no judgment in this. This is just awareness. Absolutely no judgment, just awareness. For me, I got a 9, and I feel my heart very open, excited. And so what I'm being shown in my mind's eye is like my heart, like open and radiating out, and we're creating ripples in this conversation. And I've got some goosebumps now as I express that too. All right. Next question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel mentally? 1 is low and 10 is high. And this is about how clear and focused you are, or
It's 10.
distracted. Go ahead.
10.
10. Beautiful.
My dominant thought throughout the day, what I see my pattern nowadays is, I doubt.
So even though the doubt creeps in, you still feel clear and focused to rate yourself a 10.
Yes, because I actually started to notice that I know how to stop that thing. It comes, but I know that, okay, I'm not going to lead by doubt. I'm going to lead the way I want to. So
I love it.
yeah, so I just stops it. Yeah.
That's such a great conversation. I'm so glad that you shared that. I get that I'm a 10. I'm very clear and focused on what I'm manifesting this day, what I'm creating this day, who I'm being this day. So, and there are other times though where my brain is foggy and it's a 2, and I need to adjust my day, and that's okay. This check-in helps you to gain that awareness. Okay, last question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel spiritually? And this is about you and the connection to whatever higher power it is that you believe in, whether it's God, the universe, Allah, Buddha. It could be just things are going to work out, or in your purpose, or faith, just general faith, and that good things are coming.
It's 10 out of 10.
Beautiful. And then anything that comes up around that, any insights, what contributes to it being a 10 out of 10?
I have so much faith on the superpower. There is some energy higher than me, and it's always there to guide and
Mhm.
help me each and every moment, and I trust that so much. So that's the only reason I think I'm doing whatever I'm doing in my life, because
Oh,
I know I have somebody's back.
that's huge. That is huge. And I get goosebumps as you say that as well. And for me, I'm a 10. I have my moments of doubt. I have a lot of old programming from the past. And I find that when I waver from taking care of me and from my connection, that's where the doubt and worry and fear, and then I see how it impacts my numbers. So I feel really good right now in this day. Awesome. Now, thank you. That's the essence of the process. And the goodness comes as you check in on a regular basis. Because if you just check in once and never check in again, well, then you don't have that awareness. I used to just check in the mornings, and that was fine to understand how I was starting my day. But then things would happen, situations would show up, and it would send me sideways. And then I'd be starting from scratch. And then I started to check in the morning and the evenings, and that was fine to understand how I was bookending my days. But it wasn't until I started to check in throughout my day that I noticed a significant shift, because I wouldn't get so derailed. I would notice it and bring myself back to center. It's like, oh, I see what's going on here. I see the old patterns of thinking. Oh my gosh, that's how an old boss would talk to me, or my brother or whoever would talk to me, and that would be what I would be aware of, and then I could watch the patterns of how I would automatically react or speak that would impact others. So for the numbers, if you're at that 8, 9, or 10, beautiful. You're in that thriving zone. That's where you're more in that flow state. You're connected, you're confident. When you start to dip down in 4, 5, 6, or 7, our natural default state is intended to be that thriving state. However, from all of our conditioning, from our family, from our friends, from social media, from the media, past jobs, or careers, that has been conditioning us into how we see the world, and it causes us to suffer. And so once we start to dip down, we're in this suffering zone. And then when you go all the way down to 1, 2, or 3, that's where you're just getting by. You're just in survival. You're trying to get your basic needs met. And it influences how you see the world, what your perspective is, how you communicate with others. Because if you're just like, I just need to survive, I just need to pay my bills, I just need to do whatever, and you're exhausted, then interesting, I want to say the venom that comes out of your mouth as you speak in your presence, it influences other people around you. And then it also gets mirrored back to you, because you're so focused on that's what gets highlighted in your whole world. So lifting yourself up, starting with some little energy boosts, completely changes your world and your perspective. So when you check in, you then have choice. Do I want to stay at this level, or do I want to boost myself up? And there's going to be times where it's going to be low. Maybe you're sick and you are a 3 out of 10. And no, you're not going to go from feeling completely sick and like you just want to sleep all day to a 10 out of 10. That's just not going to happen. But
Right.
you know what's going on, so you can give yourself the space and grace to move through that. And that's okay.
So if for example I am 432, so that's my number.
Yeah.
So how can I boost myself? What can I
This
say?
this is where you start to experiment with different things to make you feel
Mhm.
better. And I focus on some mindfulness based practices. So meditation, deep breathing, nature, creativity, music, mindfully eating and drinking, journaling, gratitude. These are different things that you can do. And it's about experimenting with different things to understand what works best for you and your circumstances and where you are. If you are feeling like this, and let's say you work in a corporate environment and you have to give a presentation, you can take 2 minutes to do some deep breathing to bring yourself back to center. You might not get all the way up to a 10, but it's going to boost you up at least. And you can do some deep breathing anywhere. It doesn't require any equipment. It doesn't require anything.
Yeah.
But if you are, interesting, I want to say really wrecked, maybe you're going through heartache and grief, and you want to do a meditation, or maybe you're just not going to be able to lift yourself all the way up. When I lost my brother in 2014, I wasn't doing this practice regularly. I was just checking in the morning. And he passed in November. And then by December, my logical mind said, okay, it's time to get back out there and do some networking. We've got to focus on business. And so I went to this networking event. It was a group that I knew the people and I had attended many, many times before. And when I got there, it's like, oh, my heart is too tender. I can't be talking about Christmas plans. My heart is hurting. And I left. I couldn't do it. But when I lost my mom 3 years ago, I used this process of checking my inner battery to recognize when I needed some extra space and I just could not think, and that was okay. And then maybe I needed more time in the morning, and maybe in the afternoon I had a bit of a boost of energy and I could do a little thing. And it gave myself permission to go with the flow of the emotions and with how I'm feeling, to recognize when I had the capacity to do a little something and when I needed to take better care of me and just be okay with that. And so I moved so much more gracefully through that grieving process over the weeks and months that followed my mom's death.
Oh, that's so powerful. With the procedure that we just did, it gave me time to self-reflect.
Yes.
That's the moment we really lose. We get up in the morning and we start with our routine and we never self-reflect. And that's a very good point you mentioned, that it's not just in the morning. Do it like throughout the day so that you know where you are and you start talking to yourself. Because when you started asking questions, I had to deep dive and ask myself, okay, where am I right now?
Yes.
So that seems very small. The question was very, very normal, that how do you feel right now? But for me, I have to get in me and then start, going everywhere. Okay, where am I feeling? Is there any hurt? Is there anything that is bothering me right now? So that brings a lot of information about ourselves, where we are right now, and then encouragement, experiment with ourselves, that okay, so I know that I am not feeling good, so let's see what will make me feel good. So let's
Mhm.
start experimenting. So that's, again, we are trying to explore our own self, that what we like, what we do not like. So this is a very, very good way of understanding ourselves in a wholesome way.
Yes.
Completely. Like, now I know that what is going on and what I really like.
Yes.
So that's beautiful.
And here's the most magical part. So in the beginning, it takes a little bit longer. And when you are going through something and you really develop this delicious interconnection with yourself, you want to go deeper. But there are times where it's like, I'm sitting there and I'm waiting for the kettle to boil to make my tea. And it's like, oh, check my inner battery. How am I feeling? And it's just a really quick, like less than 30 seconds to do. And it's like, oh, isn't that interesting? I'm feeling a 5 out of 10 physically. What's going on? Okay, well, let's get outside in the sunshine and let's just take a few breaths out there. And, it just goes really quick. And so 3 things. 1, as you become more aware of yourself, you become more compassionate and you make the correlation between people, places, situations, and just cycles in the moon, cycles in the weather that impact you. And secondly, because you become more aware of that, you're also able to witness it in others. And it makes you way more compassionate and you interact with others much differently. And you're also able to express what's going on within you differently and ask for help when you need it.
Yes.
And lastly, it helps you with understanding your intuition more, because when you tune in physically, you're also understanding, how is my body talking to me? So that is helping you with amplifying your, oh my gosh, clairsentience, where you feel the physical sensation as well. Clairsentience is also the emotional aspect of it too. There's the claircognizance, what you know, which can show up as the thoughts in your mind. And so there's that comes into play too. So you're starting to strengthen your intuition as well, because you are sensing, as I said earlier. And for me, intuition is a language of energy. If you're getting present to what your energy is, then you're also sensing the energy of how the universe is communicating, and your own life force energy is trying to guide you to recognize when things are off, when there's opportunities and nudges of, yeah, little nudges to guide you.
Yeah. So I encourage right now to all my audience that please follow these steps and check your inner battery. And this is very powerful. Even whatever you're feeling right now, there might be some things where you need this to understand what's going on, why I'm on a phone right now, why I'm not with myself. Maybe if you ask these small questions, just follow these steps, you would be able to explore more of yourself. It shouldn't be a major step, but a very small little step, that what do I have to do next? What is so beautiful about me? What can I give right now? Maybe there are so many things we don't even explore, but this beautiful step, I can say there was a big shift after following it. So please do follow. So, Jennifer, I would love to know any story you would like to share with the audience that you have experienced, that people using their intuition, um, they have transformed their life in a big way.
I have one client who we focused on mastering her energy because she was feeling really depleted, very exhausted. Her business was taking a lot from her, and she was starting to resent her business. So we started with managing her energy, and she found these little things that would bring her joy that she loved to do to boost up her energy. So we had been working on this for over a year, and she was noticing significant shifts in the relationships with her team, how she was having boundaries, better boundaries with her clients, and even in her personal relationships. And it was really significant. She had one particular day where she had not one, not two, but three crises that show up. And normally just one of them would send her sideways. But she was able to hold it together. She had a moment where she cried, and that's okay. She needed that release. But she felt confident with how she moved through the decisions. And she also was trusting her intuition, because there is some funny business going on with one of the situations. And she was able to lean on her intuition and follow it and get to the root of what was really going on there. So by the end of the day, she felt confident and good about how she handled the situation, diffused that tricky one, and instead of ruminating about it for weeks, she's just like completely.
So now you know, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are leading a team, and if you are suffering anything like that, please reach out to Jennifer. She would be able to help you with a lot of things that she mentioned in this episode. So, any last message, Jennifer, you would like to give it to our audience?
You are way more powerful, and you know more than you are allowing yourself to believe. Give yourself the chance to surrender. And if that moment of surrender is in checking your inner battery, wonderful. If that moment of surrender is just taking an extra few breaths and going for a walk by the river or outside, or if that surrender is just getting up before anybody else in your household gets up so you can have a few moments to yourself, give yourself permission to have that space for you so you can discover what makes your heart sing too.
Wow. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for all your time and knowledge and sharing your inspiration with us.
Thank you so much for the space of these wonderful conversations. And you have such a beautiful, beautiful heart and way of listening, and the way of pulling out the best nuggets for your audience to hear. And I know it's going to be exactly what they need to. So thank you so much.
I'm grateful. Thank you.
Wow,
Thank you.
what a beautiful and grounding conversation that was. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for reminding us that intuition isn't something we have to go looking for. It's already within us. We just need to slow down, breathe, and actually listen. I think that's what makes this talk so special. It's not theory, it's the truth, the kind that lives inside all of us. So today, trust it, even just once, because that one moment can change everything. Thank you for being here with us on Magnetic Women Monday. I am Ankita Pandey, and I'll see you next Monday with another story that reminds you of your own magic. Thank you.